Okay, good morning, everyone. It's Wednesday, and please watch this tutorial. I hope you watch the whole thing. Lots of good stuff that's going to help you. So first of all, let's start with the extensions. So both 2.6 and 3.2, it's because of how my day is kind of shaping up. I know some of you have already submitted. Some of you have asked for extensions. So let's say they're both due tomorrow at 7 a.m. I will mark tomorrow or early by 7. I mean, I would have said midnight tonight, but some of you are night owls. You like to work in the night. So tomorrow by 7 a.m., both tasks. Now I'm going to prioritize marking 3.2, and I will have the feedback to you by tomorrow morning at by 11 or so. Okay, so I'll have you the feedback on task 3.2. 2.6 you won't get back immediately. Your ISP journal, you'll get that back by Friday or Saturday. That's as soon as you need it, because you're going to be working on task 3.3 anyways. So I will, if you get it into me by 7 a.m., you'll have feedback, particularly on your task 3.3, which I'm going to talk the most about in today's tutorial, because that's what we're moving next. However, so by 7 a.m., get me 2.6 and 3.2, and I'll get you the feedback by 11 a.m. Okay, let's talk about these tasks real quick. Let me go to 3.2. Folks, it's really important that as you're doing this, the thing that I'm marking is your ability to analyze, okay? So when you look at my journal template, or as you're putting yours together, please make sure you are following this pattern that we've talked about. Okay, so let's look at, this is my second response. And folks, I don't want to hear a whole bunch of like, after you looked at my exemplar yesterday and I had this realization about faith in God. If you read I Am Legend and then I hear, of your 4 responses, one of them is about faith in God, I'm going to sort of look at that and say, like, get your own ideas. Okay, so please make sure, like, there is a giant list of material and there is tons of observations you should make. If I gave you just one that shows my critical thinking, I shouldn't see that from you as well. Okay, I shouldn't just see you kind of, oh yeah, that's a good idea. I had that one too. I had that great realization too. I want to hear your own realizations, and you need to think for yourself. Okay, think for yourself. You can see in this response, what have I learned about culture and society? Remember, start with your answer. Okay, I've learned that people crave connection. And then I used evidence. I said in the short film, An Experiment on Happiness, the researchers asked people to write and call loved ones. At first, it felt awkward, but at the end, their happiness had risen significantly. I observed something similar the last couple weeks, and I hope what you're seeing is the proof should come from both my own personal experience during the pandemic and your choice from the list. I observed something similar in the last couple of weeks. The hardest part has been not allowed to see our friends. That was awful, but because of the deep desire to connect, we didn't stay there. We got busy connected. We became expert on Zoom and FaceTime. We set up double dates and virtual parties and play dates, all using technology, but all emphasizing how important our relationships were to us. It has been very odd to watch my sons have a Lego play date on Zoom. When they came off their home calls, they're all quite a bit happier. So what you see here is my main idea, front and central. We all crave connection. Then I connected it to the experiment of happiness and then to my own experience, but I explained it. That's the analysis part, okay? I explained it. So I should not see a single person make the conclusion that relationships are so important as evidenced by an experiment in gratitude. That's my idea. And if that's a key idea you have, and many of you will have this idea, I hope it comes from something else. I hope it comes from maybe a poem that you read on the list or a podcast you watched on the list, okay? So please, I want to see your own critical thinking. So please really emphasize not just the structure, start with your main idea, but your ability to explain some great realizations you've had. It's all first person, so you can use first person. The bottom of the journal, and the same rule goes for task 2.6. Start with your main idea. That answers the question. So it might be, is the narrator reliable? The narrator is very reliable. Okay, that might be your main idea. Then you give me some evidence from the text, and then you explain it. But I want you, whether you're doing task 2.6, let me just go back to our announcements for today. Whether you're doing task 2.6 or task 3.2, I want to see that analysis, the explanation of the evidence. Okay, it shouldn't just be evidence, 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 and it shouldn't just be you explaining yourself. It should be an analysis of the evidence. That's why we say point proof analysis, to make sure you get all the important points. Okay, so make sure you're doing that for 2.6 and 3.2, all due by 7 a.m. The last part of the journal, task 3.2, is give me 4 to 5 sentences outlining what you're planning for your final product. So let me talk about these final products. This is task 3.3, which you'll be working on from noon tomorrow when you have your feedback from me. 11 a.m. tomorrow until it's due Friday night. Okay, task 3 is task 3.3 is due Friday night. So first of all, we can go to content. Let's go to task 3. Task 3.3. Okay, so we looked at this in our tutorial, but remember, we're going to, one of the big things that you want to think about here in step 3 is, what is the key learning that you had? What is the key learning that you had? And this will sort of be like the first thing you do tomorrow. So my key learning was when I did my journal, final product. So Control B. My key learning from the great realization is that I will be more resolved than ever to stay connected with my family, my friends, and my faith. So when I looked at my answers in the questions, I had one about faith, one about friendship, and one about making conscientious choices. Those were my sort of key 3 answers to my questions. I converted that to a key learning, like the one big thing, I'm going to be resolved to stay connected with these 3 elements. And then I'm going to say, to show this, I am planning to write a series of poems that use photos taken during the pandemic. In each of my poems, this was my plan originally, I will show what I thought before, and then what I learned as a result. The photos will be used to also demonstrate what was new learning for me. Okay, so this is what my plan was. Oh, and I also had a sentence of, I want to write with poetry because it gives me the ability to create more powerful images for my view. Okay, so that was my plan. That's what I'm hoping by 7 a.m. tomorrow that you'll have in for me. Something that looks like this. This is not actually what you're going to do, but it's a plan. Okay, I'm going to read this and I'll say, that sounds great, or I suggest you maybe do this, but that's what you're going to put together to think ahead for step 3. So once you have that, you're going to have a key idea. Then you can think creatively about what you're going to do. Now, you're not doing this today, folks. You're just thinking about, what could I do? And if you need to revisit the options, I would suggest you go here under 3.1. If you open the Great Realization instructions, there's lots of options. Let me just wait till my PowerPoint loads. Okay, so again, there's lots of options that you could consider. If you go to slide 12, okay, here are some options. You may choose to write a poem or a song, create an audio-visual essay, an animated video, a podcast, audio slideshow, and you could go through some of the resources here. I wanted to just show you a couple more right now to give you a sense of, yeah, like what could these things sort of, sound like? So let me project for you. I'm going to do a new share. This is a short video the student put together. It's really terrific. I hope it shares properly. All right, here we go. I'm going to turn my video off. And here we go. All right.
A lot has happened in 24 hours when it comes to the coronavirus as the WHO declares COVID-19 a pandemic.
Task force officials in the U.S. announced 835 are more dead today. That's the deadliest of the pandemic. So
today from the WHO about a long fight ahead against the pandemic.
That's right. The key word there is long for countries like the U.S., Canada, and the U.K.
He turned to me and said, if I die from this, I would rather die looking at the sky. I would rather die talking to my family. And so I sat with him and we looked at the sky, and it was a beautiful sunny day. And we talked about his family, and he put his family on the phone so that I could talk to them too. And
Okay, so let me go back to my other page. Okay, I hope you saw that. You are screen sharing. So that would have been considered a visual essay. What that student did, a visual essay or an audio visual essay. And there's some resources, Adobe Spark, you could use for that. So, and it was amazing. Wasn't that so good? As you're thinking ahead, folks, to part 3, think about what it is you'd like to create. Now, a couple of students have asked about the presentation. There is no need for you to be in the video, not even like I am in the corner over here. I'll explain how you can present that in tomorrow morning's tutorial. All I'm looking for this number 3 is a bit of a rationale of why you created what you created. So some of you may wish to just submit that in writing. That's totally fine. Some of you may wish to just like write. The reason I chose a poem was because this and that. I would prefer a presentation, you speaking, because it's just a different skill set. We've been doing a lot of writing, so I wanted to do video so you have a chance to talk, right? That's something we miss when we don't have a classroom, to do presentations, and that's an important skill to develop. So I'll talk about that tomorrow. So hope that helps. That's task 3.3. Last thing I wanted to mention in our, and I'm past 8 a.m. here, so my tutorial may have actually, the announcement that this tutorial is based on has probably released, but the video is not up yet, so it should be up in about 10 minutes, because I'll be done in 1 when I have to upload. So last thing, midterms. Okay, midterm marks. Number 1, fire me an email. Just say, sir, hey, can I have my midterm mark? A couple of you have already done that, jumped the gun a bit, but please, I'll send you midterm mark. Also, if you need a hard copy of your report card, please let me know. And the only reason you would need a hard copy of your midterm is if you currently have applied to, like, it wouldn't be for grade 11s. If you're in grade 11, you won't need to do this. But if you're a grade 12 and you're taking this course to finish off your credit, and you need this midterm mark, you need a hard copy for your university right now, put that in the email as well. I would imagine the majority of you will not need that, but yeah, let me know if you do. Alrighty, so really hope that helped, and I will talk to everybody soon. Email with questions or concerns. What do I want to emphasize the most at the end of the call? Don't forget to analyze. Point, proof, analysis. Tell me your thoughts. That's what I want to hear. Bye, everyone.